although yes, you're paying for a fairly high price for some of the solar power that's being generated, the government doesn't have to spend a dime to add this generating capacity. It's all being done by corporations and individuals. And I think if people actually put the direct subsidy that they're receiving in some of these other powers into the cost, they'd be pretty surprised at how competitive renewable energy is becoming, especially wind turbines.
Windmills, different situation. Windmills provide a cheaper source of power. The second thing about windmills is that in the Green Energy Act, local municipalities are strictly forbidden to have any input as to where these things go. That's been totally ignored in the Green Energy Act, and we're going to turn that around. We think people in Ontario know where they live, they know that area best, and municipal governments should have a powerful voice in what happens within their community.
We're not totally against every single idea of the Green Energy Act. We think it's a great idea. We believe in the feed-in tariff, but we don't believe that how it's been implemented is the right way. We would see a much better response to wind energy, I believe, if people were actually allowed to choose their own energy future. We want to push it. We are all for the feed-in tariff, but we think the way it's been managed has been antagonistic.
We want to build on the future. We want to create Ontario as a destination, a green destination for businesses that are looking for this kind of this technology as we move ahead.
Sarah Simmons is the Government Affairs Manager for SunEdison. Prior to working at an international solar energy company, Simmons helped create Ontario's microfit feed-in tariff program at the Ontario Power Authority.
And Ontario at that time really became known on the world stage as a place to invest in renewables and an emerging market for solar and other renewable technologies.
Microfit contracts signed with the Ontario Power Authority last 20 years. A standard offer contract for a rooftop panel can pay up to 80 cents per kilowatt hour. Chudley says that's far too high a price to pay when that same energy is being sold back to the grid for 5 cents per kilowatt hour.
If a contract has been signed, we're conservatives. We honor contracts. So we will honor those 20-year contracts. We don't think that program makes sense today. We think that solar panels in particular are some distance away from being commercially feasible. We think that our energy policy should make good economic sense. And right now, solar panels don't do that. They don't provide power at a level that you can feed them into the grid and not have to heavily subsidize them from other sources. 80
cents per kilowatt hour is for projects that are very, very small. These are small projects that will go on to rooftops and in small communities, and farming communities are really taking advantage of small solar systems. The amount of electricity actually generated by those smaller systems is very small. So they're not contributing a huge amount of electricity to the grid, so their overall impact on electricity prices is very minimal. Eventually, and actually sooner than later, the prices are going to be coming down, and you'll find that they come down. They'll be coming down very drastically over time. The amount of electricity that we actually procure at that higher incentive rate is a very small fraction of what will be resulting from the uptake over time.
Simmons' former employer, the Ontario Power Authority, is among the many agencies, boards, and commissions that the PC Party plans to eliminate.
Ontario Power Authority was a transitional organization. It's a bureaucracy that the Liberals just can't say goodbye to. A traditional team takes you to a new system and then fades away. This is becoming permanent. It was never meant to be permanent, and we're going to do away with it.
The Ontario Power Authority was an agency that was created out of a need in the first place. So the functions of the Ontario Power Authority are to create long-term energy plans, to develop conservation programming for Ontario, as well as to procure electricity supply as needed to meet the long term. Those functions will continue to be critically important for the Ontario electricity supply system.
I think you're seeing a lot of that with progressive Conservatives this time around. They see what they perceive, rightly in our eyes, to be bad policy from WNT, but what they're choosing to do as a result is brash. It's not economically sound, and for a party that has traditionally posited itself as stable governors of the economy, I think it's quite rash to rip up contracts like Samsung without even looking at it.
So yes, when it comes to green energy and clean energy jobs, 60,000 jobs are going to be created. I cannot imagine someone stepping in and proposing that we do not keep this province on track with tens of thousands of jobs.
Are you keeping a close eye on this election, I guess is the question?
Yeah, definitely we're keeping a close eye, and St. Edison we've reached out and provided information to all the political candidates and of all the different political parties. After the election, we'll continue to work with the government and make sure that solar is procured in a sustainable way in the future.